following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning, I'm Nico Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health, our rights, and our freedoms. And good morning, I'm Paige Clarke.
And it's a beautiful day in downtown Clearwater. It's kind of warm. It's 77 degrees, a little
Felt
muggy.
humid this morning, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a little cold front come through later in the week, and we'll have a few cool days, which is nice.
That's right. So make sure you subscribe to the Health Signals newsletter. Absolutely wonderful newsletter with lots of links for news you can use to stay healthy.
Yeah, I got a new one out on the boards today, so take a look at that, folks. Number here is 877-927-6648. Of course, you can always reach us through email.
At Paige at TFNN.com.
And Nico at TFNN.com. So, how was your weekend?
Oh, it's always a great weekend. I like all the weekends.
Yeah, it's when we're not working.
I'm excited because this weekend I'm going to go up to Kentucky, and I might just do a little Kentucky Derby
Oh,
stuff.
with juleps and hats, and yeah,
So
that's always
everything's
fun.
gonna
I've
work
never
out
been there, but
actually, my biggest thing is I just want to kind of be in some country and walk and kind of detach from things. That's what I'm looking forward to this time.
We're going to be talking about soil right off the bat, and this is really important. You know, soil microbes and the human health. Prozac may not be the only way to get rid of your serious blues. Soil microbes have been found to have similar effects on the brain and are without any side effects and chemical dependency.
Well, that's what we know. We know that health begins in the soil. And it's kind of like the macrocosm and the microcosm. Our bodies are a terrain, and the terrain of the earth is where we get nutrition and we get balancing, and these microbes are what are really running the show here.
Yeah, and I like that description of it. You know, natural remedies have been around for untold centuries, and these natural remedies include cures for almost any physical ailment, as well as mental and emotional afflictions, and that's really the important part.
Yeah.
Is because in our modern society, we know there's a heck of a lot more stress. We often talk about that.
Well, you are not kidding, Nico, but their ancient healers may not have known why something worked, but they just knew simply that it did. How nice is that? And modern science has unraveled the way of many medicinal plants and practices, but only recently are they finding remedies that were previously unknown and yet still a part of the natural life cycle. And it's really health begins in the soil.
Yeah, soil microbes and human health now have a positive link, which has been studied and found to be verifiable. One of the reasons that, of course, we put the soil humic and fulvic acids.
Humic and fulvic acids into the Primal Edge as a base.
As a base.
So that you can get the soil basic. Think about it. The microbes are what break down. I like to explain. It's breaking down the minerals into forms that our bodies can use. And that's the key point.
And that's the signaling that the cell gets that says, hey, take this in. This is good. Let's remove this. This is bad.
Yeah. So how many of you actually know that there's a natural antidepressant in the soil? It's true.
Yeah,
it's actually called Mycobacterium vacciae.
Yeah, it's a substance under study and has indeed been found to mirror the effects on neurons that drugs like Prozac provide.
So if you get out in the garden, you can get your dose of Prozac-like natural bacterium.
Yeah.
And you know, I noticed that people that I know and love, once they get into gardening, it just gives you a different sense. I think all of us need a little bit of garden. Yeah, you know, you can truly not have to overwhelm yourself. You can create a space, and really probably in a size not much bigger than this table that you and I are sitting at, Nico, provide food for a family of 2 to 4 very easily.
It's amazing how much you can get out of the soil when you treat it right, when you use the right ingredients. And of course, we have been talking for the last few months, actually the last year, about the grand solar minimum and how, because of the weather changes and things kind of moving south as far as growing areas,
right,
it may become very important for us to grow our own food at home.
Absolutely, and it may be, like you said, even whether it's in the soil outdoors or inside, because as the weather changes, it's not going to be what you expect, folks. It's not going to be warming. It's most likely going to be cooling.
It could be. Could very well
That's
be.
what we're seeing.
So lack of serotonin has been linked to depression, anxiety, obsessive compulsive behaviors, and bipolar problems. These are things that are right now in our society.
Epidemic.
Yeah. That's the word I was thinking of right there.
So that bacterium that we told you about, Mycobacterium vacciae, it appears to be a natural antidepressant, and it has absolutely no adverse effects.
Yeah, and these antidepressant microbes in the soil may be as easy to use as just playing in the dirt, just like you said.
Who
That's
knows?
amazing.
I mean, even if you don't want to garden, just go start building soil. I love the picture we've got on the telestrator in the back. Here's this person holding the dirt. Literally, our skin is covered in microbes, and then there's this communication network when we play in the dirt.
Yeah.
And these guys are all talking and doing their thing.
And I remember my happiest times when I was, a preteen, playing in the soil. I had a real interesting neighbor, a kid that I used to play with across the street, and his dad owned a gas station, which was across the street from us. And every spring he would bring in a whole bunch of, it wasn't really dirt, it was sand, so we could play in the sand and, make castles and play war and all these things. Every spring, I really look forward to that. Boy, that dump truck would come by and boom, right in the front of the lot.
And you guys would have it there to play.
That's what we did after school, playing in the dirt.
Well, how about this?
Okay.
I was quite the tomboy when I was a kid, and where a lot of girls were playing with dolls, I was catching crawdads and lizards, and I had, all these aquariums that had all this muddy water, but I bring home my new catch, which was usually
nice.
crawdad. But I remember with no fear, talking about the fulvic humic acid, that brown water, black water. Remember that song?
Of course, yeah.
So I would be in those creeks up to my knees. I'd just take my hands along the edge of the creeks where the moss was overhanging.
See, you and I would have been buddies if we were preteens, because that's what I did. And I'll tell you, most of the people that loved to play in the dirt most was some of the girls.
Yeah,
Sure.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And so, but this is great news for people that there are still, we find every day that there are solutions in nature, and we can get away from many of these pharmaceutical drugs that are chemical. And as Dr. David Brownstein say, all drugs interfere with enzyme reactions, and it's just very important to understand that they are never to be used long term, perhaps short term if you're in a situation. Perhaps if someone's working with their doctor and they say you're depressed, depression is not something to mess around with. You got to take a look. It's got to be a holistic approach. You got to find ways to pull it together and eventually wean yourself off of these other things that don't solve the problem.
Yeah. The way I look at health nowadays, when something happens to me, I look at both sides of the coin. I look at what the modern medical community is saying, but I also look at what our ancients are saying and try to find out what's right for me. And oftentimes I do find that if I go to the natural, it works quite well. And then there's none of that downtime. In other words, we don't have all those little things that are listed on the back saying this may cause you to do this and this and this.
We don't have to worry about those side effects from nature. And we're going to find out when we come back what makes you happy about nature. We'll talk a little bit about how dirt makes you happy and why most gardeners say that gardening is their happy place. Stay
Stick around,
tuned.
folks. We'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
You get a line and I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line and I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line and I'll get a pole, and we'll go down to the crawdad hole, honey. Baby mine.
Oh, nice, Al.
Hey, Al, you were paying attention.
That's for sure.
Hey, before the break, we were talking about why most gardeners say that their landscape and their gardening is their happy place. And the actual physical act of gardening is a stress reducer and a mood lifter. And many scientists...
Well, this is a mood lifter right here.
I love this. Guys, one of my friends, I don't know, I think you all remember Jennifer Waller from Celtic Complexion, the wonderful skincare. I've had her on the show a couple times. She sent me this, and she's already signed up for the 13th Annual World Naked Gardening Day. So let's take a look. A lot of people are going to be participating. Oh, wow. Looks nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, why not? Just get into it, guys.
There's the gang right there.
Take a little roll in the dirt around, getting your soil prepared. There's the whole gang. They look like they're having a good time.
Yeah, you know, gardening is one of those ancient things that we do that we were brought up in, and everybody's done a little bit of it, I think, especially if you're out in the country, you're raised on a farm. I was on a farm for probably half my adolescent life, and playing in the dirt, watching things grow, playing with the animals, chasing chickens around.
It's just natural.
It's just, it was a whole different, I mean, we don't see that anymore. I'm sure there's places that people do that, but in the cities, that's just kind of gone.
Yeah, so, as we mentioned, there are antidepressant microbes in the soil, and these microbes in the soil cause the cytokine levels to raise, which results in the production of higher levels of serotonin. And the bacterium was tested both by injection and ingestion on rats, and the results were increased cognitive ability, lower stress, and better concentration than the control group. So not only do we get it on our skin, but we're inhaling the bacteria. See, the bacteria are airborne.
Yeah, it says here gardeners inhale.
That's why it's important just when you're walking in nature.
Yeah. That's why it makes you feel good. Gardeners inhale the bacteria, have topical contact with it, and get it in their bloodstream when there is a cut or another pathway for infection. The natural effects of the soil bacteria antidepressant can be felt for up to 3 weeks if the experiments with rats are any indication. So go out and play in the dirt and improve your mood and improve your life.
This reminds me of the information we shared with you listeners about forest bathing. This is research that had been done in Japan that showed that the immune system stimulation from a walk in the forest. So if you think, oh, I don't have time but once a week to get outdoors, it's still awesome. And you can get great results from being out, even if it's just, so make sure you get outside. And that's really, like I mentioned, when I go away this weekend, I'm going to be with my friend Kim and her mama, Rosetta, and we are going to enjoy walking up in the hills, and she's going to take me to some nice little hiking paths, and I'm just excited about it.
Yeah. I've been, of course, for the last 3 weeks, starting my little treks. Yesterday,
and getting prepped for your
Getting
trip.
prepped for, there's no mountains here, but I'm using the bridges and just walking. Yesterday I did 5 miles with about 30 pounds in my pack and felt really good about it.
How much weight did you have in there?
About 30, 35
That's a
pounds.
lot.
Yeah. Well, the water weighs a lot too, so I have this little
Camelback type of
thing.
thing?
Yeah, and I was trying that out too. So, but it's been kind of nice, and I feel myself getting much stronger, and it's really helped me in jiu-jitsu also. So, I mean, walking is the natural first exercise. It's the thing that kept us human beings alive, because
It's
if
kind
you
of
didn't
what
walk,
made us human when
It
we
is,
stood
because-
up and started walking.
Yeah, and not only that, but because if you can't walk anymore, then you die, pretty much.
That's
I mean,
very
people
true.
can help you along, but usually tribes didn't do that. They figured that was too much of a burden on the society, and maybe it was a smart thing. Today we would look at it and say, oh, leaving nobody behind. I mean, that's a kind of our mantra, with at least military.
Right.
But things have changed, but getting in the dirt, just getting outside is a huge, huge thing, and I do feel the effects every single time I do.
Yep, it's very good. So let's go on to another article, Nico.
Okay.
This came out in grasslandbeef.com, and it's a headline that says anti-obesity report calls for high-fat diet recommendations. So, we love it. We love it when we start to see more and more results supporting what we've known and what our ancestors have known, that fat is where it's at when it comes to maintaining your health.
Yeah, and this comes from the British National Obesity Forum and the Public Health Collaboration Report on Obesity. The report is based on an analysis of 43 studies. They warned that the policy to encourage people to eat a low-fat diet is having a disastrous impact on health.
Let's emphasize that, disastrous impact on health. So they're actually calling for an official dietary guideline overhaul, and they claimed that it's based on flawed science, and that has resulted in higher consumption of net carbs and junk food. And the report notes that eating healthy fat does not make you fat. And so this is finally getting a lot more mainstream
Not in
news.
America, but this is from Britain, so it's getting its foothold in it. And it's a little bit harder in America because selling is so important in this country. We have to keep
Just
selling
look at
us
the
this
shelf
crap.
space, though, Nico.
Yeah.
If you look in the grocery store, if you analyze what the shelf space was, you would find that it's 80% carbohydrate foods, packaged foods. So, the idea that the low fat is the answer in the struggle for weight loss, has been a persistent one, that we needed to have a low fat for heart disease and weight loss. But for the past 50 years, ironically, heart disease and obesity have been steadily rising. And why? And are the dietary fats to blame? This study says no. We've been saying no. Our ancestors have been saying no. And if they were, which fats would give rise to the problems? It's unfortunate, but researchers have frequently failed to take into account the fact that not all fats are created equal, and that's what we spend a lot of time here on this show.
Yes.
Is trying to help you
it's
make
those
good
vegetables
choices.
oils that are not good for you.
The veggie seed oils, the ones that you see in your grocery store on that one aisle that's all liquid gold, it's liquid death. It's all
sure.
It's all rancid oil. So just stay away
So
from
let's
those.
listen to some of these key findings of these studies. First of all, eating fat does not make you fat.
High fat, low fat, and low net carbs are superior to a low fat, high net carb diets for weight loss and heart disease.
calorie counting does not work.
Yeah, calories are not created equal. They have different metabolic effects depending on their source and depending on the person, too, the impact they can have where that person is in. And counting calories is useless for successful weight loss.
You cannot outrun a poor diet.
Oh, that's true, isn't it?
Oh, that's for sure.
I mean, we've always known that diet's 80% of it, exercise 20%.
Yes.
I mean, stop and think about it. Some of the healthiest people in the world are your yogis and your people from Tibet and the Asian and the Far East, who many times are doing Tai Chi and slow movements or Qigong and just breathing and meditating.
Yeah, and I have a new client that has started yesterday with me, and she's really on the kick of exercising to lose weight, and I'm telling her that that's not the way to go, but her mind just doesn't come around to the fact. She says, I worked out 5 times last week. How often do you work out? I says, usually twice a week. She goes, what?
Yeah, she was surprised.
She was surprised, yeah. I said, it's because I know that the diet affects the weight and not what you exercise. It
Well,
just doesn't
the diet
compute.
affects the hormones, and the hormones control the weight loss. And
Right.
Dr. Berg, we've mentioned, we got to cover some more Dr. Berg stuff. He's
Sure.
just, you're getting his YouTube videos every day. He's rather prolific, and he just really kind of carves it out.
The last thing is the saturated fat does not cause heart disease.
Well,
something
that,
we've talked.
hallelujah. Saturated fat and cholesterol has little to do with the development of heart disease, and this has been proven. It's evidence from 40 years ago. Supports the evidence that you should not restrict saturated fat. So how about that?
Number here, folks, is 877-927-6648. Give us a call. We'll be right back.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back to the show, folks. I found this article here. 107 cancer papers are retracted due to peer review fraud.
Fraud. Did you hear that word? You and I have been sharing that information for quite some time, ever since Dr.
Ansel Keys.
No, not Ansel Keys. No, she was part of the fraud.
Yeah.
But Marsha, I'm drawing a blank on her name.
Go on.
Well, anyways, she was the chief editor of the New England Journal of Medicine for 20 years. And she has a quote that she says, "After 20 years, I have come to the very disappointing conclusion that it is no longer possible to trust the research published in the New England Journal of Medicine." Did you guys hear what I just said?
Yeah, and here's one of the reasons.
Scary.
They say it's possible to fake peer review because authors are often asked to suggest potential reviewers for their own papers. This is done because research subjects are often blindly, it's kind of a blind niche. A researcher working on a subfield may be more aware than the journal editor who's best placed to assess the work. But it is the editor's job to have somebody research this stuff.
Yeah, but some journals go further and they request or allow authors to submit details of these potential reviewers. It's kind of like letting the fox guard the hen house.
It's exactly that.
And we know that many of these research papers are actually being funded by the very people who could benefit from a strategic outcome on those studies.
Yeah.
So again, we have to really, really go down the rabbit hole on this research, and that's one of the things that Nico and I do. We take a look at stuff and we evaluate, the sources. One of the reasons we love GreenMedInfo. GreenMedInfo.com is the world's largest repository of natural health database, not funded by any research, so the research is independent and it's been vetted out. So I want you guys to really, if you've got a question about something, go there first, because unfortunately the ones that your doctor is supposed to be reading and never does, usually.
Yeah, well, they like to get the information from the drug salespeople. Really.
Well, unfortunately, it's a very sad thing, but many of them are so overbooked because they've only got 8 minutes to see you, so they can bill for only 8 minutes.
But also, the problem is they need credits to keep their practice going, educational credits, just like my wife does for being a lawyer. And those credits now are being supplied to them by the people who are selling them the drugs.
Yes, and so they're being told what to believe. So, but it's really amazing when you get doctors who are thinking outside the box, and more and more of them are doing that. So
yeah, let me read this little part. He says, some journalists even journals go farther and request or allow authors to submit the contact details of their potential reviewers. If the editor isn't aware of the potential for a scam, then they merely send the request for reviews out on fake email addresses, often using names of actual researchers. So they're actually scamming themselves, in a sense, to get past their editors.
Is that wild?
Yeah, that's
and at
pretty
the
wild.
other end of the fake email address is someone who's in on the game and happy to send in a friendly review.
Yeah, it's not always the authors providing the reviews. There is some evidence that so-called third-party language editing services play a role. So they have these automatic robots that go through.
Well, and they have people that are just sitting home. It's kind of like, how they say, would you like to work from home?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people, for example, there's a lot of what I call them Facebook trolls. They're paid by the drug company, the vaccine manufacturers, to just sit back and watch for conversations, watch for trending conversations. They look for those words, and then they jump in. I always wonder, when I post something, how somebody can all of a sudden get onto my page. I'm like, hey, who invited you to my page? And then you find out that they're looking for that, and they're paid to just create obstacles. And this is the same thing that's going on with many of these researchers. They're paid to write articles. They're paid to help create the research that will produce a favorable result.
It's being run more like our government. It's I was listening to a podcast on Sunday night, and the people were talking about how the committees are run in our government. Did you know that to be ahead of a committee, you have to pay the government to be ahead, and you have to pay somewhere between $250,000 and $1.5 million to be part of that committee? So if you want to head that committee. And how you get that money is from the lobbyists.
Yeah,
so you throw a party, the lobbyists come in, you say, I'm going to be ahead of this committee if you give me the money, and what would you like me to talk about?
Right.
So this is happening in the medical community just as much as is happening in our politics. So let's go on, because we have one of our favorite people.
Dr. David Minkoff recently wrote an article and explained, here's some research on cancer cells and amino acids. You can find this at the Body Health blog. We love Dr. Minkoff. He's a guest on our show and contributor to some content that we do here. And Dr. Minkoff says in a 2016 study in the journal Developmental Cell, some cancerous cell growths were linked to other amino acids, not glucose and glutamine consumption as previously thought.
Right.
The study found that non-glutamine amino acids act as the building blocks of tumor cells, supplying abundant carbon and nitrogen to fuel the growth. And these findings serve to reframe the way scientists look at cancer cell metabolism, and it offers new insight for patients. And he gives his perspective on the study and shares the article. So I'd like to discuss this because I think also, Nico, I don't know if we can pull up that infographic. Just while we're talking, I'll introduce a few points.
Well, I wanted to say, we've talked about this before, the cancer cell has a different type of metabolism than a healthy cell and uses the fermentation of sugar to produce its energy.
Right, correct, because it's a damaged metabolism.
Right.
And according to the German biochemist Otto Warburg, who discovered in the 1920s that tumor cells are much less efficient energy metabolizers, and these cancer cells make heavy use of catabolized amino acids for fuel. Here, I hope you guys can see this. Nico, slide. Okay, oh good. I'll show it and zoom in. Yep. This is a great graph, and this is one of the reasons that we love Body Health, Dr. Minkoff's product, Perfect Amino. If you notice at the line, the amino acids, much of our protein-rich foods that we have to break down into the amino acids really are not highly usable. A lot of it goes to waste or nitrogen waste, which creates stress on the kidneys.
And this is because of the poor quality of the food. It could be missing microbes in the soil.
All of this
it could be what we do to the food.
But what we learn in this is I think this is a really great graph because it shows you that there's very little waste or nitrogen waste with the Perfect Amino on the far left orange graph. But look all the way over to the branched chain amino acids, which many of the bodybuilders are using for rebuilding and everything. This is actually in the zone of cancer feeding. So you see that how much of the protein is being wasted. There's much more protein being wasted in the green bar area than in the orange bar. This is one of the reasons, in a nutshell, why when people have cancer, you'll see them go to the Gerson therapy, and they use a lot of vegetarian proteins, because the body is in such a different metabolism, a catabolic instead of an anabolic metabolism, that it needs all of its enzyme fire to break down the protein coatings on the cancer cells. Right. But if you're putting these really hard to digest protein sources such as eggs, meat, in our food, we have to eat food, but whey protein powders, you look at how much of them are used as a waste or a catabolic producing product, you now understand we can then use our protein digesting enzymes to break down the cancer, cancer fighting. This is a tremendous graph.
And you can see how much virtually all of the perfect aminos that Dr. Minkoff has does the cancer fighting. And you can really feel the difference in this. So it's a recommended product by Living a Primal Lifestyle here.
It sure is. We love it. And
here's what I found on the web for recommended product.
That's
You're playing with your computer.
Yeah. So we got to take a short break. We'll be right back in a few moments.
Stick around, folks. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back. You know, it was Otto Warburg, the German biochemist, who discovered in the 1920s this fermentation of sugar to produce energy for cancer cells.
Correct.
These cancer cells make heavy use of cannibalized amino acids for fuel. That's that in that chart we have. This is what the bodybuilders are using. So it's very dangerous to do that. Now,
well, you know, it's really interesting, too, because, you know, Dr. Minkoff, who actually himself follows more of a ketogenic diet, he says for cancer patients in his practice, he'll have his clinical team recommend very low protein diets with very high fat content and very low carbohydrate content. The average cancer patient will be eating around 1,200 calories per day and less than 12 grams of carbohydrate. And, you know, when you think of this kind of supports the same philosophy that, you know, a calorie restriction is the only thing that's been shown to sustain longevity. I say that again, you know, because the food we eat is the most stressful thing we do.
Right.
And especially as we get older, we don't digest the food
and this
as
kind
well.
of aligns with the recommendations for cancer as a metabolic disease, which was written by Dr. Seafield.
That's right.
So combating the protein deficiencies and protein digestive issues, they require a combination of a great diet, like Minkoff is suggesting, and that we suggest, and supplementation. And in an average steak, for example, the protein calories will be broken down into amino acids, and about 67% of the protein calories will be targeted and used as fuel by cancer cells. If you're looking at vegetable proteins, up to 90 to 95% of protein content in vegetables will be targeted for use for fuel by the cancer cells, which is not good. So you can see that the vegetarian type diet, if you're not supplementing with great aminos, then you
create some
could
problems,
create real
what he
big
says.
problems, more problems than with meat.
He says this study has created some confusion, so let's clarify, with some people thinking that simply taking amino acids could feed cancer. But that, however, is not the case, according to Dr. Minkoff, since it is the resulting nitrogen waste from unutilized amino acids that feeds the cancer. the nitrogen waste is used as a fuel. Properly utilized amino acids, such as perfect amino, where you utilize 99% of it, are highly beneficial to the body, as those are the building blocks of protein and are essential to the human body.
And I like the way Dr. Minkoff, when he was in here explaining it to me, he says, okay, your body is going to make get these amino acids in a line, proper
It's got to
line.
repair this tendon.
Yeah, repair the tendon, so it's going boom, 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 and one's missing. It throws it out. Now it's building again, boom, boom, boom. One is missing, it throws it out.
And the
your
tendon
body
doesn't get repaired.
Not only that, but your body's under continuous stress for trying to create something that isn't there.
So why not give it what it needs?
There you go.
And if it needs to, it's always better to have a little extra, especially since these perfect aminos do not create any additional waste. So let's put it this way. If you're a bodybuilder who's been told that you need to be eating, 500 gazillion, grams of protein, since we know a great percentage of that creates nitrogen waste that's stressful for the kidneys and for the body that's trying to find the right amino acids, it seems rather inefficient.
It's completely
stressful to the
inefficient.
body.
Yeah, so by giving your body the complete amino acids and your body's going to completely utilize these, we supply nutrition that the healthy cells can use to support the immune system and keep your body in a lean body mass.
And Dr. Minkoff says no other form of protein comes close to the formula in perfect aminos with its 99% utilization rate. And really, this study really sheds light on the role played by dietary protein sources in cancer cell metabolism and how excess protein, not properly utilized, not properly digested or disinfected, that's my kind of hot point, I tell people, and particularly in people over 40 where just don't have that digestive fire or ability to utilize it. I think this is a real good case for, getting these good usable amino acids into our diet.
And, as we said
Thanks,
too,
Dr. Minkoff.
Yeah, no kidding. And another point is the vegetable use. Because of the proteins in the vegetables are very hard for us to digest, it causes more of a problem. Because
that was very interesting.
Yes. So this comes down to really thinking like our ancestors again. What would we go if we were hungry? What would we do? We'd probably hunt an animal of some kind. And not go for the greens that are around us, because maybe you don't know what's in those greens. Maybe you don't know which is the perfect thing for you with the plants.
I thought it was interesting too that he really does look at a calorie restricted diet, and as we've been studying more and more, that is the only thing that has proven to extend lifespan.
And the beautiful part about living a primal lifestyle, living with a primal style diet, is that it's self-regulating. You're not going to overconsume, and if you do overconsume, it'll probably be once a month or something like that when you feel like it, and that'll be good too.
Yeah.
I mean, this type of lifestyle is self-regulating. You don't eat a lot of protein. I mean, we had a piece of pork last night that was a real small piece of pork, and not much else. And
Well,
we were
Thomas
so happy.
Jefferson, one of our founding fathers, always said that protein should be the accompaniment to a medley of colorful vegetables. And whereas I think what we're trying to say is don't overeat the protein. It needs to be distributed.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need the brontosaurus steak burger, but we need good quality sources.
And how you regulate that is really with the fat. Once you convince yourself that eating fat and you don't have that phobia about it again, what you have is that self-regulation. You have enough fat, and I've often said before, if you look at this piece of meat that you have in your on your plate and it doesn't have a lot of fat, add some fat to it. You've got
pat of butter.
Pat of butter is great,
Or
unless you're
Béarnaise
allergic.
sauce, maybe.
Béarnaise sauce, fantastic. A little bone broth along with it, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or just adding some MCT
French
oil
knew
on
what
it.
they were doing.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, our ancestors knew what we were doing.
Hey, so let's, can we start going, I had a lot of people call and say they were really interested in some of this weather and true climate change information we've been sharing. Can we start going into that? Because we've got a little bit left. Which article do you want to cover next? Because
Well, let me look at them here.
I really think this...
Well, this is really interesting to me, too. They had this big climate conference.
Yeah, the
And
climate change conference protesters...
It was shut down because of snow.
Yeah, the climate change protesters were there to, many people think that the climate change is a global warming. I think of the global warming as, that image is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
In reality, folks, the global warming thing is very much, we're not saying that the world is not getting polluted and mistreated.
No.
And there aren't some areas that are experiencing this, but what we know now and what we're researching on this show and sharing is that it's much more highly likely that the climate change that we're experiencing is going to be one to a colder climate. So that was pretty interesting that they had to cancel that due to snow.
How much snow has fallen? Check this out. This is the spring snow report, and they have listed here all these cities with 10 inches, 8 inches. This is just not a dusting of snow, folks. This is massive snow. I even have some pictures of Saudi Arabia and
I think that's very interesting.
desert.
How many people expect to see snow in Saudi Arabia? But that's what's happening. Saudi
Now,
Arabia
here's
has been covered in
something
snow.
that Al Gore just wants $15 trillion to fight off a apocalyptic 2 degrees global rise in temperatures. So, you know, we know this is a money game with people.
Let's think about what we discussed last week. There was the $500 billion was going to be requested by that university in California to...
500 million.
It was 500 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a lot of money. It was 500 million.
To
they
refreeze
wanted
the Arctic.
to refreeze the Arctic caps. And what Nico and I are sharing with you is what other researchers, truth researchers, I believe, are saying is that that's going to happen naturally. So what better way to extract money out of people so you can say you fixed it? Because you know what's coming. The cold is coming.
I agree.
Shame on you, Al Gore.
Ah, shame on Al Gore. I'm glad he wasn't the president.
Yeah.
We'll be
Okay.
right back, folks. Stick around.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit tfnn.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Up next, 9 before 9 with John Logan on TFNN.
Well, welcome back to the show. Just to show you some of the things that are happening in different areas of the world.
True climate change.
Yeah, Kalahari Desert. So this is what it normally looks like. And this is what it looks like right now.
Isn't that interesting? Wow, do that again.
So this is normal.
Mm-hmm.
Exact same spots.
Wow, so they're getting a lot more rain in the desert, and
Yeah.
cooling weather's not so hot, probably.
Well, you know, if these people are used to the dry, I wonder how they're going to switch around.
How about the
but
Sahara Desert hits its biggest snowfall in living memory? How about that, guys? Let's go to the Sahara Desert and do a little toboggan.
This is what Adapt 2030 was talking about when he says that the growing areas are going to be changing. And now what we're seeing in the Sahara Desert gets slow snow or rain very, very seldom, almost zero. And all of a sudden we're seeing it. And this has happened not just once, probably about 6 or 7 times this year.
It says it's
with
waist
snow.
deep in some places.
Yeah.
How about that, guys?
Here's
I bet you
of
some of these people are just totally freaking out.
Yeah, this is just...
That's the last civilization before the Sahara, which stretches out for thousands of miles to the south, the Sahara, and these people are like, check out the snow, making snowmen.
Making snowmen. How about that?
I just think pictures, folks, are worth 1,000 words.
Well, that's some
and
really
maybe
nice
as we,
pictures.
yeah, where's some more? Show me the flowers. Oh, there you go. California's wildflowers are freaking out. It's a flower freak out, guys. Look at that. Is that gorgeous? I'd like to have that as a screensaver. After years of devastating drought, flowers are blooming in California.
There were some other pictures here, but I can't find them.
They're calling them the bodacious blooms, and they're having a ruckus celebration. And it really is true. I think we showed the map from the California, the difference in how we had severe droughts, and that literally in this last year, the drought situation in California has been resolved. Correct?
I think it has been.
I think that's about solar roof.
Oh, that's...
Yeah. So, folks, you know, we're going to keep keeping you posted on the weather. And what does this mean to you? What it means is we need to pay attention. And many times what we're reading may not be what's actually happening. And we want to expose things so we can be prepared.
Yeah, and, you know, we got definitely a big storm out west in Kansas and Colorado. I think Vail had a little bit. But there was some record snowfalls and that's the area I'm going to in a 2.5 weeks.
Who knows? It might still be snowing.
It may still be snowing, but Mark assured me there's plenty of places to go to see what
Even
activities
if that's
we
the
can
case.
do. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this thing, and I'm looking forward to just getting out of town for a little while. My wife is leaving town. She has this conference in Vegas this week, so I'm going to be alone for a few days, which is always nice. And then when she comes back, we're going to have a week together, a little more than a week, and then I'm going to be taking off, meeting my son in St. Louis, going up to Vail to see Mark, and adventures are due. And I didn't really get a chance to write a commentary for my newsletter. I do have a brand new newsletter out right now talking about the novel treatment options for heart disease, which
That
we
was
talked
from
about
Dr.
the other-
Cowan that we,
Yeah.
and we're going to be interviewing him on Healthy Fit Club. I love Dr. Cowan. So and
And
his
on the
research,
last page.
his research really coincides with what we're explaining about the structured water.
Yeah, and here's another structure. This is structured by what we say the forest people are doing. Regardless of what you believe, take a look at the video that's below it, and you can find some great things to look at. And, you know, my question is, what's happening? Who's building this? Something is doing this. This doesn't happen naturally.
This doesn't happen in nature. So some people could argue, well, it's people going out just to do this for fun. Could, you know.
Well, a lot of these trees, although it may not look it, they're maybe 100 feet long, weigh tons. You're not going to move them. And when you go up to these trees and try to move these things, you can't really move them. And these trees that are done unnaturally are not from this area. They were actually brought in. This is 13,000 feet in the air, folks.
Yeah, and there's no roads and
There's
trucks.
nobody that's going up there. Anyway,
I can't wait till
I'm
you
going to be
give us a
exploring
special
that.
report.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking around, folks. Really
next
appreciate
show.
it, and we'll see you the next
Have a
time.
great day.
Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman wave sequence. Using the Chapman wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.